Storing your geraniums or pelargoniums over the winter is super easy. And I have been doing this for a few years now, and I love being able to save them for my next growing season. Now, you go out and you buy these geraniums at a box store or wherever you get them, and you'd hate to waste that money and have to spend it all over again, especially for some of the ones that you really loved in this past gardening season. So I'm going to store several of my geraniums. So you'll see behind me, I have several of them. Some of them I grew from seed. A few of them I bought at Walmart, and then I have some inside my deck that I've also purchased several years back and have been overwintering every single year. So let me show you how simple it is to actually store these for the winter and then bring them back out in the spring. So these geraniums have been in a protected area of my home in this nice corner, and it's very warm because of the house. So some nights have been dipping into the 30s, but because it's in such a protected area, they have not been hit by frost. And you should pull them in before they get hit by frost, because they just won't survive at that point in time. So this is a great time for me to start getting them inside for the winter. About a week ago, what I also did was try to label them so that I could remember exactly the variety. So you'll see this one's no longer in bloom, and I needed to know the variety. So this is just that stretchy cord that you usually use for like staking up tomatoes and things like that. And that's what I went around and added to all of the ones that I knew the variety or the color. And then that way, when I do dig them up, or if they don't have blooms on them, I'm going to know what variety it is. Now, some of them, they were not in bloom, so I'm going to take my best guess as to the variety. So that's going to be a little bit of a guessing game. So if you could do that a lot sooner when they are blooming, that's ideal, so that you don't forget which ones they are. So this is a gorgeous one that I purchased at Walmart this year. It's my favorite color. It's been a few years since they've had it, so I absolutely want to preserve this one, and I'm regretful that I didn't buy more of this particular color. So let's store this one, and all I want to do is get rid of all the soil and get down to the roots. So that's pretty good. Sometimes I do like to clean it a little bit more, but that should be fairly good. It's okay if you break some of the very small roots on the plant, but some of these larger main roots I do like to keep on there. And then the next thing you want to make sure to do is you absolutely need to get rid of any blooms that are on the plant or any buds. So we'll remove those. They usually snap off fairly easily. And then any leaves that are dead, or they look like they've got a little bit of disease on them, like these are turning yellow, so I'm going to remove those. And alternatively, you could technically remove all the leaves if you wanted to. I do like to just store them with some leaves, but then I will be checking it about every 2 weeks to remove some of those dead leaves, because sometimes that can cause some rot when you're storing them. So that's pretty much it. Now, these roots are fairly moist. You could mist them a little bit before storage, but you do want to make sure that you know, they stay pretty healthy during storage, which is why you want to check them and see if they just need a little bit of water. So let's put them in a bag. So I just take a paper bag from the grocery store and I place it upside down. Some people do put them sideways, and I do find that it is a little better if they're upside down and the least amount of touching each other. So we'll put another one in there. So this is the other one that these are both the ones that I purchased from Walmart. And looking from the size of the bag, I could stick maybe 2 other ones in there. And then you just fold the bag, and you'll want to store this in a cool area. So for me, it's my basement, where it stays generally about 50-55 degrees throughout the winter. I sometimes put a clip here just to keep it closed, and that's pretty much it. That is all you have to do. Now again, you'll want to check it throughout the winter. At first, I do check it maybe every 2 to 3 weeks for that foliage when it dies back. And I might, a lot of times I do like to remove that dead foliage from there. And then after that, once all the foliage is off, I really only check it about once a month to see if there's anything rotting. And if it is, then I want to cut that rotted piece off. Now, when spring comes, it'll be easy to just bring out of these bags, and you could start them indoors. Just get them under a little bit of light under a window, and you can get the root system started. But then you'll want to put them back out once all chance of frost is gone. Now, these are ones I grew from seed, and these are the apple blossom, and these are the ones that did the best for me, really. So I want to save all 3 of these. There's 3 in this small pot. And yeah, so just gonna pull all of them out and see how they're looking. So that's looking pretty good, but I noticed that the root system was really wound up around the plant, and maybe that's why it kind of struggled this past year. But now I'll just clean off the remaining blooms and remove some of the leaves that might not look so good. All right, I think this is pretty good and ready for storage. So another reason why I want to store these geraniums is that, you know, even though they were very easy to grow from seed, it took some time for them to put on some growth. And, you know, it was just one stem that came out, you know, originally from the start. But then all this season, it put out all this extra branching, and now it's a much fuller plant. And that takes time. So I don't want to waste all that extra time growing it from seed. Now, I guess if I want a new color or some of them don't survive, then I could just, again, grow them from seed. But this is just so easy to do that I could have a much bigger plant and really have a lot of blooms and color. So I think it's a great idea to store them. So I had a lot of moth issues, and I didn't treat it with BT. So every now and again I do see a leaf with, I think that is the old cocoon in there of the moth. So anyway, I want to make sure I discard that. Next year I really do have to treat it with some BT because I didn't get as many blooms for because of the moths eating the buds all the time. All right, and here are all the geraniums tucked in and ready for storing for the winter. I have way more than I could possibly need, but sometimes a few rot, and this is just security to make sure I have enough. And, you know, some of them I will probably put out in the landscape next year since I will have way too many to really pot up. So I hope this was helpful and that this will make it very easy for you to store your geraniums for the winter and not have to rebuy them every year. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.